Hey y'all! So today I'm going to talk about why rejection is not actually the hardest thing about acting. Special thanks to Phil Flock for this intro. So, rejection. It's not the hardest thing about acting. Now, that sounds crazy because I know that the first thing people tell me is, wow, that's so hard. Yeah, the rejection, right? It's really the first thing people bring up and the first thing people think of, because the way that it gets stated is that you get no, no, no. You're being told, no, you're not good enough. No, you're not this or that. And it's not that you aren't in a sense. There's a type of rejection, but being rejected outright that way implies you're being acknowledged at all. You have to get to a point where you're acknowledged at all, where you can get in front of people who will say no to you. Long before that is just getting into a room at all, getting somebody to pay attention at all. And I say that knowing that for a very long time, regardless of doing work that I was very proud of, it didn't really matter, because if I didn't have footage, if I didn't have something to show for it, if I couldn't prove and put forth that I had some level of talent, then guess what? I can't even get in the room. Even up to now, I can only get into certain rooms, right? Like I know which people are willing to give me a chance, but there's a lot of shows, a lot of casting directors that frankly I just can't get in front of, even if I am just right for a part. So that being said, it's long before rejection that you're getting turned down because nobody looks at you. Another example of that, I think, is the availability checks. So say that you're doing really well, you're in a place, you were right for a role, or at least right enough, and you got into the room and you did a great job, and they said, oh, we want to check your availability. So they say, are you available on these dates? And especially since the time of COVID, they're asking about, 10 other actors if they're available at the time. And most likely, 9 of those actors are not going to hear back at all. It's one thing to be pinned, to be told that you're pending getting the job, that there's a negotiation happening, you're one of the top 2 or 3 people. But up until that point, they may check your availability. They'll say, hey, we want to know if you're available for these dates, and please let us know if you come up with something else instead. They gently ask you to hold the dates without asking you to hold the dates. That's because they don't want to pay you for those dates, and if they ask you to hold them, then they have to. So they ask if you're available and that you write in if you become unavailable. And so you sit by the phone and you hope that they call. And again, for 9 out of those 10 actors, they just don't. They don't say, hey, you've been released. Sorry, we went with somebody else. It's very rare that I've received follow-up after being checked for my availability. So that's the kind of thing that's discouraging in a different way. And I think that's it's a really different challenge than just being told no outright, because I remember I felt very blessed when it's a weird way to say it, but when I was actually told that I didn't get a part and reached out to by the casting people who said, to my reps, they said, it didn't go Allie's way this time, but we liked her. I was like, this is fantastic. Someone likes me. That's what I need. I need for people to like me. And they had the respect and made time to tell me that it didn't work out for, whatever reason. Again, most of the time you're just not getting the time of day to receive that. And so you're potentially turning down other work. You're turning down opportunities to go see your family, to go do, whatever it is you need to do to function. I've had auditions. It's funny. Actors all the time talk about if you need a job, just leave town. Try to take a vacation. And it's absolutely true. I've stepped off a plane and gotten to Texas, and all of a sudden my agent at the time was reaching out to me like, hey, they want you for this follow-up audition. They wanted me to go to a second audition. And I said, look, I just stepped off the plane. They have the tape from my first audition. I could send them in something, but like, I can't come back unless I have a job. I did not hear from them. In some instances, some people who've been with me for a while know that I like to drive to Texas here and there, or drive to New Mexico for gigs. I drove to Mississippi for one particular job. And when that kind of thing happens, guess what? Auditions don't stop. So I had an instance where I had driven to Texas and I was on hold for something coming back. And I hoped I had it, but I didn't know. And it was a commercial, so it was working very quickly. And it was like, really, really go hard on driving back just in case I got it. And hope that I wasn't just killing time I could have spent with my parents. Or, just take my time, hope for the best, see if I can get back if they need me. I chose to start making the drive, and as soon as I crossed the border into California, I found out I got the thing. And that they wanted me like the next day for a fitting. So if I hadn't started immediately on my way back, I just wouldn't have gotten the gig. So it's one of these things where really the credits that you already have, if you have a name, those things make a huge difference on the amount of etiquette you get, the amount of turnaround time you might get, or effort. And I think it really helps to understand that. I think it makes a really huge difference to be here and to have worked my way in for a really long time and be able to say, I've gotten to the point that I'm at by taking really measured steps forward, by pushing in the direction that I want to go. And the way is slow. It's a marathon, right? Some people zoom by you, some people fall away, most people fall away. And just knowing what you want and knowing that you are doing what you love are the most important things. And finding that support system. Because that's the other thing that really can get to you, right? Before any kind of rejection, before even not being acknowledged, can be the voices of the people back home who don't understand what you're doing and are afraid for you. And that's rough. It's hard to get that call from your mom. Yeah, just scared. Just not knowing if you're gonna be okay. Because she knows vaguely it's hard. And that is really challenging. But again, knowing yourself and knowing what you want, make the way. I know I can show myself and anybody else what I'm here to do. So thank y'all for being with me, and can't wait to tell you some more. Ask questions if you got them. Follow-ups. See you soon.